Thanks for staying with us. I am Vivian Uguche. Now we begin with reports that an Ondo State High Court sitting in Akure, the state capital, has sentenced to life imprisonment 7 suspected Fulani headsmen for kidnapping former secretary to the government of the Federation, Falae, in 2015. The court, presided over by Justice Williams Olamide, held that the suspects were guilty of kidnapping charge brought against them by Ondo State government. Justice Olamide said that the recovered ransom, call logs, and identification of the suspects by Falae indicted them of complicity in the crime and subsequently sentenced them to life imprisonment without an option of fine. He, however, discharged them of 2 charges of conspiracy and armed robbery. In his reaction, counsel to the suspects, Abdul Raham Yusuf, expressed reservations about the judgment and hinted at an appeal.
3 bordered on kidnapping and 2 on armed robbery, conspiracy armed robbery. But today in court, we were able to knock out armed robbery and conspiracy. So they were left with kidnapping. And the judgment for kidnapping is life imprisonment. So they were convicted for kidnapping and thereby sentenced to life imprisonment, each of them.
However, the Director of Public Prosecution, Ondo State Ministry of Justice, Mrs. Adeshola Adeyemi Tuki, said the judgment is justice well served.
At least we are here for justice, and we believe justice has been given to the victim of offense of kidnap.
Convicts Abubakar Auta, Bello Janu, Umaru Ibrahim, Mashahudu Muhammad, and Idris Lawal. In the meantime now, a magistrate court sitting in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, has remanded in custody 2 suspects who killed Elechi Chukuma, a delivery agent for an online store, Jumia. The suspects, Shoinde Mbatu Mokeke and Excel Divine Nabe, who are facing a 3-count charge of conspiracy, murder and robbery, were remanded in prison by the Chief Magistrate A.O. Amadi Una. In his ruling, the magistrate said the court lacked the jurisdiction to entertain the matter and ordered that the case file be handed over to the Chief Registrar to be remitted to the Department of Public Prosecution for legal advice. Recall that on the 25th of March 2017, the suspects had used a pistol to murder the delivery agent and robbed him of 2 phones, an Infinix Note 3 and IM10 desktop GSM phone, both worth 181,000 naira. Speaking to journalists outside the courtroom, an elder brother to the deceased accused the online company Jumia of not giving the family attention and called on the police to carry out an intensive investigation on the matter. Still on legal matters now, a federal high court sitting in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, has commenced the hearing of the case of a journalist, Kemi Olunloyo, standing trial for alleged character defamation of the General Overseer of Salvation Ministries, David Ibiyome. The court also refused application for bail by the U.S.-based journalist. Our correspondent, Kanvata Lasha, reports that the court adjourned sitting to the 11th of April 2017 for accelerated hearing. In other news now, the Global Legislators Organization for a Balanced Environment, GLOBE, has advocated for more funding in their quest to promote the establishment of a climate legislation initiative. This request was made by the chairman of GLOBE Nigeria, Senator Buka Abba Ibrahim, when the group paid a courtesy call on the Senate President Bukola Saraki. Senator Ibrahim said that the group focuses on advancing the green economy in Nigeria in response to climate change, deforestation, and desert encroachment.
Members, on a courtesy visit. We appreciate Your Excellency for a timely approval of our request to visit you, given your very tight schedule. It displays your willingness to providing us good leadership and support in our activities.
Responding, the Senate President said that a lot of environmental programs lack legislative backing. He promised to support the group in this regard. Senator Saraki commended the institutional initiative of GLOBE and pledged to place premium attention on issues like pollution, erosion control, deforestation, desertification, flood control, and climate change in Nigeria.
Issues ranging from climate change, and we noticed that a lot of pronouncements were being made there by the governments. And we asked ourselves that some of these pronouncements being made by governments at these conferences, without legislative backing, they will just continue to stay at pronouncements.
We'll take a short break now, and when we return, more stories on the local and international scene. Stay with us. You're welcome back. Now, the federal government says it has achieved a 9% improvement in power generation and transmission as of February this year as a result of ongoing works to address specific challenges and limitations around the country. This was made known by stakeholders at the 4th Power Sector Operators Meeting held at the National Control Center in Oshobo, Osun State. Take a look.
Power generation, transmission and distribution had remained critical challenges identified as bedrock of the perennial power problem in Nigeria. Gathered with the Minister of Power, Works and Housing in this hall, therefore, as stakeholders from across the regulatory body in the sector, generation companies, GenCos, and distribution companies, DISCOs, to assess the sector and seek ways to further improve provision of power, particularly with the recent approval of the Power Sector Recovery Plan by Buhari administration. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, who said recent reorganization of the regulatory body in the sector was part of the new plan to check the challenges in the sector, said the federal government is committed to its responsibilities through policies such as the Sector Payment Assurance Guarantee to ensure liquidity stability in the sector so that generating companies are paid for their services.
Every loss must be accounted for or paid for, whether it be by cash, or by sanctions, or by a combination of both and more. This is a business, and I have had cause to say that in any business that is properly run, when losses begin to occur, those who run those businesses either pay for them, either by losing their jobs, or making refunds, or by resigning. We are heading in that direction.
The minister also affirmed that the federal government is determined to enforce the rules and regulations applicable in the power sector, as he urged every operator in the sector to be ready for a change of attitude to complement the efforts of the government to ensure accessibility, affordability, steady power supply to Nigerians.
Consumers who demand service are also expected to change their ways. They must be prepared to pay for what they use. They must understand that energy theft is a very serious offense and it will be punished. They must also stop assaulting service providers, because we have records of instances where even discos trying to meter consumers have had their representatives assaulted, beaten up, sometimes very, very savagely to the point of death.
The chairman of the NERC, Sanusi Garba, said the regulatory body is working on setting a minimum capitalization for operators in the sector.
At the time of privatization, these PSC and successor companies were handed over to co-investors without any liabilities. But operating them over the last 3 years have been colossal losses. And we have a feeling, looking at the audited accounts we have received so far, that the capital base of these companies have literally been eroded.
We have 3 demonstrations, people protesting against our services in 3 places. We have to shut some of them. One of them is Uweri. We have to shut Uweri. One of them is Afam. The other one is Otupo. We have to shut those places. So whatever we are doing, we have to understand that, yes, as we try to give supply to people who will pay, we should also know that there's impact on what we are doing, and it has also costs.
At the end of the meeting, incidents of insider malpractice and its negative impact on the customers, among other things, were acknowledged, and the need for vigilance to eliminate such cases was agreed upon.
Away from Osun State now, the Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency, PPRA, says that an additional ₦1 per litre transporter's bridging fee for petrol will not in any way affect the pricing template for the commodity. The General Manager Operations PPRA, Ogbaje Olashupo, who made the statement during a press briefing today in Abuja, assured members of the public of uninterrupted product supply and distribution. He reiterated the agency's overall goal of facilitating a vibrant and robust downstream oil and gas subsector. The federal government had earlier dismissed reports and plans to increase the price of petrol. In the meantime now, the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, has vowed to resist any attempt to increase the pump price of premium motor spirit, PMS, otherwise called petrol. Speaking with Galaxy News, the chairman of NUPENG League State, Tokumbo Korodo, said there have been rumors that marketers are calling for an upward review of the pump price of petrol, which is currently selling for 145 naira per litre. He said considering the current state of the economy, a hike in the price of fuel will worsen the economic situation of the masses. Korodo said any attempt to increase the price of PMS will be tantamount to increasing the suffering of the poor.
Then on the issue of the security, they told us that it's noted, it will be handled administratively, and the people concerned will be called to order. Even with the issue of the road, they said the Minister of Housing and Road Infrastructure and so on, so they will also take note of it. They will work with us to ensure that we line up the area we think is needed and the black spot where we think have never been attacked at every given time. So we also requested for there should be I think a resting place on the highway when driver is driving, because of the frequent accidents that involve tankers nowadays. We've put an embargo on night driving for all tanker drivers.
Said NUPENG is agitating for better conditions of service for its members, and the onus is on the federal government to address all issues discussed before the strike was suspended.
We need to put in place the refineries, let the refinery be functioning very well. Let that one also reduce our dependence on imported fuel. If that one is done, and quick, speedy passage of PIB bill is another plus, that it will open up the market. Other foreign investors will come in at the same time. It will not jeopardize the effort of the local investors too.
We move to Ogun State now, where government has commenced the demolition of structures in order to reconstruct and expand the 7.5 kilometers in Nugada, Adaton Road in Abeokuta, the state capital. This is to pave the way for the urban renewal initiative of the state government towards increasing socio-economic development of the state. Speaking on the exercise, which was led by the state governor, Ebekunle Amosu, the State Commissioner for Works said property owners have been adequately compensated.
Particularly in the last 3 months, we've told them that we're coming, especially since we knew the money we're going to use for the road had become available. So they are properly informed as to this occurrence that is happening today. As per compensation, even some of the people on this street have collected compensation, because without discrimination, when we started paying compensation in 2012, it was not limited to where and where work was starting. We were paying the compensation to whoever was due to collect it at that time.
In Delta State now, the Commissioner for Information, Patrick Uka, says construction works in some roads in Asaba and Warri have been suspended due to rainfall in order to avoid building collapse. He made a disclosure in Asaba during a joint press briefing.
The contractor CCC came back and gave a report that because the rains have come and that if they carry out the work right now, it's going to affect, in particular, the collapse of certain houses around there.
Both commissioners for Works and Information addressed journalists.
Decided that we should suspend that project until after the rains. Of course, it's also very important that we inform our people so that we're well informed of what is happening, because the expectation actually are very high. Inside, there's hope inside, and the only thing is that they have to continue to be patient with government, knowing full well it's a very open government, it's a government that tells them the way it is.
And when we return, the governor of Ondo State says he will leave no stone unturned to unearth potentials in the state. Details shortly. You're welcome back. Now, the governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, says his administration will do everything possible to unearth all the potentials in the southern part of the state. Governor Akeredolu said this while inaugurating the board of Ondo State Oil Producing Area Development Commission.
To ensure rapid social, economic, and infrastructural development in the area, and to bring governance closer to the people of the South.
His administration will initiate programs aimed at developing the oil-producing area of the state.
National and international on effective methods of tackling the problem of coastal erosion, oil pollution, spillages, and other environmental degradation affecting our people.
Speaking on behalf of members of the board, the chairman of SOPADEC, Olugbenga Edema, pledged the commitment of the board to complement the efforts of the state government.
The need for peace. We appreciate the need for peace because without peace, there cannot be development. And we know that it is beautiful when brethren live together. One can kill 1,000, while two can kill 10,000.
SOPADEC's mandate is to utilize derivation funds for the development of the Niger Delta region of Ondo State. In Oyo State now, reactions have continued to trail the substitution of some nominees screened and confirmed by a committee set up by the State House of Assembly for the position of caretaker chairman into the local government council and local council development areas of the state. Governor Biola Jimobi had last Friday sworn in the new caretaker chairman, where he admitted that names of some of the nominees were actually substituted in order to ensure fairness. Our correspondent Kunle Ojo reports some members of the party, including a nominee screened by the Assembly, Honorable Akim Aronsi, condemned the act.
I was nominated by the Oyo State government. I undergo the screening and then I was confirmed by the House of Assembly as the caretaker chairman. The fascination from Dr. Oladeji. On the day of the election, on the day of the swearing in, he impersonated himself as the caretaker chairman, while I was interrogated by the SS at the main gate for the entrance of the swearing.
The caretaker chairman of the area, who had resumed duty, commended the state government for not allowing injustice and promised to ensure even development in the area. Also, some members of the community condemned the prevention of their chairman from taking the oath of office last Friday, stressing that they are ready to prevent any attempt to draw the council area back.
What transpired is beyond imagination of anybody. The robbery of the highest order. I've never seen it in history. However, we are in Oyo State, the Paychester, but we should be leading in good things. Honorable Biodun, who has been caretaker chairman before, paraded himself as a new caretaker chairman, whereas his name was not on the list.
This is what I expect. This is what I expect. What was happening on Friday is the mockery of the
By the time this report was filed, a detachment of officers of Oyo State Police Command had been deployed to the Secretariat of the Council to forestall a breakdown of law and order. In the meantime now, the Iyola Oyedepo-led faction of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Kwara State chapter, has called on members to be selfless and committed to the party ahead of the 2019 general elections. Oyedepo made this known during a retreat organized for the party officials and executives in Ilori, Kwara State.
But in Nigeria, but our party nevertheless failed. Therefore, having money without more may not make our party very strong to win elections. We need money, but we also need the skill and honesty in the management of the resources and deployment of the money to execute the programs of the party. This retreat is organized so that party officials will know their rights, duties, and obligations as elected party officials for PDP in Kwara State. The retreat is for all the state working committee members, state executive committee, and some members of the local government executive committee. The members of the local government executive committee will have to go and train the ward executive committees about all they have learned at this retreat today. There is even the need for polling booth officers, which when established will equally be trained on their duties as party functionaries.
At the state level, Iyola said members should be committed in order to withstand pressures.
But a strong party should parade committed members, members that can almost lay down their lives so that the party can win elections. The feature of such members are readiness to take up assignments for the party, contribute financially to the programs of the party, volunteer to go extra miles to accomplish the goals of the party, submit to party rules and discipline, ready to continually learn and impart knowledge so as to grow the party. All the above are the qualities that can prepare a party to win elections. It is wrong for leaders to abandon the words to the ward officials, who most often are too financially weak to do any meaningful political work.
The retreat was attended by executives from the 16 local government areas of the state. In Anambra State now, a civil liberty organization, Southeast Zone, says the present administration has performed below average. Reading their annual report for 2017, the chairman of the group, Aloysius Atta, enumerated some of the challenges government both at the federal and state level should speedily address, including the release of leader of the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, and other pro-Biafra agitators, even distribution of the nation's wealth, suspension of military activities in the zone, and respect for the rule of law, amongst others. On the issue of governance in Anambra State, the group gave credence to former Governor Peter Obi for his performance, while lamenting the inability of Obiano to build on it.
Obi also recorded another great feat because unlike his predecessors who were not on ground to hand over to their successor, he personally handed over to Obiano and presented a handover note detailing a leftover of 75 billion in cash and investments.
According to the group, it is shocking and worrisome that the Obiano-led administration did not continue with the laid-down precepts of his predecessor.
In continuation of the lying spree, he said that government had attracted $494 million in the industrial sector, while the state is working on 857 kilometers of roads in 110 sites in Anambra. He also repeated the lie that the state has made $5 million in exporting Ogo vegetable, and also increased his fabled tale of exporting 1 million tubers of yam to Europe to 5 million tubers.
Efforts made by Galaxy News to get the government's response to the accusation proved abortive. This is Galaxy News. We'll take another short break. We'll be right back. Join us again. You're welcome back. To security matters now, the Nigerian army says it will continue to do more to protect the country's territory against aggressors. The army also promised to promote professionalism amongst its soldiers. The General Officer commanding 2 Division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Chukwunedum Abraham, made this known while declaring open a 5-day inter-brigade competition in Benin, Edo State. The GOC said all of this will be carried out in line with the vision of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukuru Buratai.
To your knowledge, I'm sure you know that there's no territory in Nigeria that's controlled by terrorists, as we had in the past. So you can see that we have done a lot to ensure that the terrorists are completely routed out of our country.
The Deputy Governor of the state, who was the special guest, hailed the military for its role in fighting terrorism and for redeeming the lost glory of Nigeria in the Committee of Nations.
Nigeria and taking Nigeria back to a full country that it has been, but they have re-established their name in the Committee of Nations.
During an interview with newsmen, Major General Abraham assured the people that the Nigerian army has been able to deal with terrorism and that no single region is under the foothold of terrorists.
Has a lot of training activities scheduled for this year, which are not only geared towards professional development and competence, but also in pursuit of the Chief of Army Staff vision.
The 5-day event, which began on Monday, will end on Friday. In other news now, normalcy has returned to Kajola village in Okegun area of Oyo State after a long-drawn battle between pastoral farmers and Fulani herdsmen over grazing areas. While the farmers accused the herdsmen of destroying their farmlands, the herdsmen have equally accused the farmers of killing their cattle by poisoning the only source of water in the area and lacing their farmlands with charms. A correspondent, Kunojo, reports that the commander of Operation Bast, Brigadier General Usman Yusuf, who led the peace team to the community, commended the Fulani leaders for admitting that they are at fault. He said normalcy has returned to the community as both farmers and herdsmen promise to give peace a chance.
The Fulanis are visitors in Kajola. They are living with you here, enjoying your land, farming on it, grazing on your land, and also living on your land. That issue was also solved. But particularly, I'm very happy to inform the entire Kajola community that when I invited the leader of the Fulani community, he did not deny any of the accusations that was brought forward by the farmers.
Another development, the commander of Operation Bast has decried the poor living condition of his men. He also called on the chairman of council areas hosting his men to promote peace.
I will continue to visit all my troops that are in the field to see to their well-being, that they are living well and they're able to discharge their duties to the community. The state government on its part is doing its best. We are now calling on the local government chairmen who have partnered with the state to take care of these troops in the field. it is very obvious some of them are not pulling their weight. You can see here in Erua, the living condition of the officer we kept here and the soldiers is not very good.
We move to Kwara State, where government has put some measures in place to ensure that various groups, especially herdsmen and farmers, coexist peacefully. Governor Ahmed made this known in Ilorin, the state capital, during a monthly stakeholders meeting with party members across the 16 local government areas.
All stakeholders, including all the security agents, the army, the police, the navy, the air force, the civil defense, and all other paramilitary, our traditional rulers, and the association of the cattle bearers, Mieti Atlan, we have all agreed on a peaceful coexistence.
It is expected that everyone will abide by the rules and regulations spelt out and ensure that peace and harmony reigns in the state. You're watching Galaxy News at this time. Business News is up now.